Bioshock 1 was released in 2007. It went on to be considered one of the greatest video games of all time. Despite this, I say Bioshock was a mild success. When you're looking at similar series like Half-Life, Borderlands, Fallout, all of those seems to have a stronger staying power than the Bioshock games. Could it be that it's more of a niche series? What's even more curious is that people will talk about Bioshock 1, probably even Infinite, but nobody's really talking about Bioshock 2. But look at the scores! They're not even that far apart from one another, which makes sense. They're very similar in almost every aspect. So, what I want to do is go through these two games and figure out what's going on. Are the numbers wrong? Or do we have a great game that everybody forgot about?
They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
So we got a quick introduction to our guy, Jack. The plane crashes and we end up in the middle of nowhere, but thankfully we're near this lighthouse looking structure. While there's a clear-cut narrative that we're part of, a lot of the world building and prior history is told to us indirectly, for example through environmental storytelling or audio logs, as you will see. As we have no other choice, we take this fancy looking submarine and we get some propaganda on the TV. In actuality, this leads to a big reveal.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
However, any kind of utopistic vision we might have gets shattered immediately upon our first glance into the city of Rapture.
Don't hurt me! Just let me go! My gun!
Of course, being a total stranger to this hostile place, we wouldn't be able to survive, so the game has to give us somebody to help us.
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio?
And that someone is Atlas.
I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question Providence. I'm Atlas, and I aim to keep you alive. Now, would you kindly find a crowbar or something?
Well, we can't pick up a crowbar because that belongs to Gordon Freeman, but we can pick up the wrench, our first weapon. You can whack people with it. As you can imagine, it's not that effective. So we get a little boost right away.
Steady now. Your genetic code is being rewritten. Just hold on and everything will be fine.
We lose consciousness for a bit and we get a blurry glimpse of the guy on the cover of the game. As you can gather, there's a lot of cinematic elements to this game. It knows how to create intrigue and use it excessively.
Look, Mr. Bubbles, it's an angel.
So there's magic in this game called plasmids. Beyond their usefulness in combat, some of them can be used for other things like restoring electricity to open doors. Along the way, we learn Atlas's motivation for helping us.
Listen, I've got a family. I need to get them out of here. But the splicers have cut me off from them.
Rapture is one of the game's strongest elements. It feels so well realized, with every place so neatly decorated, yet never feeling like it's cluttered or too much. And it's such a unique setting, you couldn't mistake this for any other place really. And while we don't really get to see anybody besides enemies, the game does a fantastic job showcasing how much everybody lost their minds down here.
No one will be there to sing this song. Hush. Mommy's gone. And Daddy too.
Yet the crib was empty. The audio logs you can pick up give you even more insight into Rapture and its residents, but one issue I have with it is that it doesn't lower the volume of the game while you're listening to it. You can listen to them in the menu, but it's just one of those little things that could have easily been fixed. We get to see our first little sister, as they're called. So what's with these creepy kids? Well, Rapture got overtaken by this powerful substance called Atom. The little sisters were made to collect this atom, and for those purposes they are highly sought after. That's why they have a protector. And those guys are called Big Daddies. Our path to Atlas's family gets blocked.
Security alert in progress.
And then again.
Fuck, right! You're trapped! Gonna try to override the exit from here!
So tell me, friend, which one of the bitches sent to you? The KGB wolf or the CIA jackal? Here's the news. Rapture isn't some sunken ship for you to plunder.
It looks like we're done for, but thankfully Atlas manages to secure that exit for us.
Now you've met Andrew Ryan, the bloody king of Rapture.
We can spend our stolen money in 2 different shops, buying ammo or health kits. You can also hack the machines for cheaper merchandise.
It has been brought to my attention that some citizens have discovered ways to hack the vending machines. I should not need to remind each and every citizen of Rapture that free enterprise is the foundation upon which our society has been established. Parasites will be punished.
The other thing that you can hack are these machines that can help you in combat. The hacking minigame is connecting tubes. Later they make it more difficult by speeding up the flow speed, but there's nothing much to say about it. We also have these U-invent machines where we can take materials we collected to combine them into ammo. And lastly, we have these one-use only weapon upgrade stations. I think they're self-explanatory enough. By the way, these health stations, you can use them to heal up, but I think it's a rip-off. It's mainly for enemies to use it. What you can do is break them for a free health pack. Audio logs can also foreshadow upcoming characters we'll meet.
Dr. Steinman said he'd release me today. Ryan didn't come to see me since the New Year's attack, not once. But Dr. Steinman was very attentive. He told me that once the scar tissue was gone, he was gonna fix me right up. Make me prettier than any girl I've ever seen.
Gotta give praise to the voice actors, and not just the main ones, but even some of the one-time characters too.
You promised me pretty, Steinman. You promised me pretty. Now look at me. Look at me!
You keep an eye peeled for Steinman. The daft bastard set up shop in the surgery wing. You want to find him? Just follow the blood.
It might be annoying for some people to get the details from audio logs, but the truth is you don't need to do it, only if you're interested in learning more about the world and its people.
When Picasso became bored of painting people, he started representing them as cubes and other abstract forms. The world called him a genius.
When you get a new plasmid, you get these Fallout-styled cartoon tutorials for them.
Light up foes to 1,000 degrees. Warning, fire spreads.
We can try out our new power on this oil puddle right here. We can also melt ice with it. Soon enough, we find Steinman.
What can I do with this one, Aphrodite? She won't stay still! I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong! That was too fat! This was too tall! An intruder! He's ugly! 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 Ugly!
So these named character fights are nothing special. It's like fighting regular enemies except they have slightly more health. Get the key from the guy and oh look, a Big Daddy.
It's a little one. Here's your chance to get some Adam.
Stay away from her or it is you who will be shot next.
Easy now, Doctor. He's just looking for a wee bit of Adam. Just enough to get by.
I'll not have him hurt my little ones.
It's okay, lad. That's not a child. Not anymore, it ain't. Dr. Tenenbaum saw to that.
Bitte do not hurt her. Have you no heart? There is another way. Use this. Free them from their torment.
So there's your big choice. Rescue them or harvest them. We're told that by harvesting them we get more Adam, which is the currency used for plasmid upgrades, but the reality is that we roughly get the same amount, because when we rescue them we get gifts occasionally. So this is more of a moral choice, and in that case we're saving them. They're kind of terrifying looking though. Very soon after this, we take on our first Big Daddy. They won't attack us until we do. They're bulky, meaning most weapons barely do any damage to them, unless you get the right ammo. At this stage, we're really ill-equipped, but no worries as you can't really die in this game. You just respawn in one of those Vita chambers. You can turn these off, meaning you can play the game with the game overs if that's more your style. We also have these alternative Big Daddies who wear these old-timer diving suits. They use a different weapon, but besides that, I don't think there's anything different about them. Alright, let's finally open this emergency access.
Security alert deactivated. Thanks for your patience.
We have to go through the fisheries, but this guy wants us to run some errands for him first. Also, we get another ambush. So what does the guy want? He wants me to photograph enemies. Yep, this is just a tutorial for the camera, which if you take pictures of the different types of enemies, gives you such things as increased damage against them and such. I find it mostly useless, as in I can't really tell how much it actually works, so I don't use it very much. We'll get to each weapon later, but it's fair to say that Bioshock is not known to be particularly innovative when it comes to the FPS genre. But that's okay, since it has so many other areas where it does innovate. Anyway, after we get the 3 pictures, we can head back. He lets us through, but we have to leave all of our weapons except the wrench. We quickly learn this guy is not really sane. I mean, it was pretty telling. Who in their right minds would want these pictures?
He done told the devil he'd be right back, and the devil says, "Sure thing, Mr. Fontaine. I'll hold you a spot." Ryan promised Fontaine was dust, and now here you are doing his dirty. I guess that makes Ryan a bum, and you... Atlas! He was ours! Ours!
For the time being, we can use our plasmids, but we can also run to get back our weapons. Leaving, we get some flashbacks or something. We're also close to the submarine where Atlas's family is holed up.
Hit the switch up there in the control booth and let me in. I think it's time to shake hands and get acquainted.
So, let's just hit that switch, right?
You blow a fuse up there! Can't be a damn thing in that booth! Give me a tick and I'll get you out of there! Moira! Can you hear me in there, darling?
Of course, Ryan was ready for us and we have to run. As we do, we can find a recording of Frank Fontaine's.
Spent the morning jawing with that crowd scientist. She's damaged goods, alright.
Who we've been told is pretty much a terrorist. Oh, but look, there's the submarine. Well, we could have expected something like that would happen, but...
Moira. Patrick. Ain't that just like Ryan?
Anyway, look at this. What a nice change of scenery. So good to see some nature down here.
The man's put something foul into the air.
Well, that didn't last long. Gotta save the trees, because saving the trees is saving ourselves. Join the cause today.
My trees! It wasn't you, was it? No. Ryan.
Our job in all of this is gathering this flower. Bring it back and...
Mr.
Ryan Industries maintains exclusive rights to the creation, use, and exploitation of the Lazarus Vector. Ownership is civilization.
Wait! No! Please!
Without it, we're back in the swamp.
Mr.
Enter the code into the safe, we get another key. Most of what we do in this game is just fetch quests, keeping it really retro. Would you look at that, more stuff we need to collect. Get them all, and we get something called the Lazarus Vector. After putting it into the machine, guess what? We get ambushed again. I befriended a Big Daddy to help me here. Our next stop is the metro station. Right away, we're just told that we'll be needing some more keys.
Ryan's handed the keys to Fort Frolic over to a guy named Sander Cohen. Cohen's an artist, says some. He's a Section 8, says I.
At least we don't have to kill the guy this time. I made the foolish mistake of trying to rob this place. Cohen is an artist, the homicidal type. You can see his work scattered around. We can learn about his main motivation as an artist.
Life, death. The burden of the artist is to capture.
He also wants pictures, but at least he's displaying them. A much better parent than the other guy. He even gives you gifts afterwards. Our second target is down in the freezer apparently. It doesn't go well.
Guess the old grape finally sent someone.
Except we get out of it like nothing happened. We have all of our guns and now it's just a simple matter of shooting the guy. There's 2 more targets where nothing special happens and now the masterpiece is complete.
It's beautiful.
Cohen, you're a very delusional person. I've been killing people left and right. You don't see me calling myself an artist.
What happened to you? I've been trying to raise you for a dog's age. Never mind. Would you kindly leg it over to the spear and get on down to Hephaestus?
Guess what the next objective is?
Ryan's got the genetic key to Rapture. We get that from him, and we get out of this hellhole.
Of course, getting to Ryan is not going to be as simple as just walking up to his office and him letting you in. You gotta go the long way around. Make a bomb! Exclamation mark. You have to gather materials for it from fallen Big Daddies. For one of them, I had to backtrack almost to the beginning of the level. We pick up the bomb and... now all we have to do is place it down somewhere. I think this is one of the best shootouts that happens in the game. You have to turn this valve by holding the button while enemies swarming from both sides. You can hack the 2 turrets that are in this place to make this easier for you. We take the elevator up, place the bomb, and finally get access to Ryan's office.
In the end, all that matters to me is you. And all that matters to you.
There's some disturbing audio logs you can find here.
Did you daddy a puppy? She's very pretty. Break her neck for me. What? Break that sweet puppy's neck. No, please. Break that puppy's neck. No.
Getting to Ryan, we get the biggest bombshell of a reveal. Seriously, you should experience this for yourself.
In the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories. A farm. A family. An airplane. A crash. And then this place. Was there really a family? Did that airplane crash? Or was it hijacked? Forced down
Forced down by something less than a man, something bred to sleepwalk through life until they are activated by a simple phrase spoken by their kindly master. Stop, would you kindly? Would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run! Stop! Turn. A man chooses. A slave obeys. Kill!
It does get kind of funny near the end.
A man chooses. A slave obeys.
But let's take a moment to appreciate what a masterful narrative we have here for a video game. We got so used to doing whatever the game asks of us that we don't even question it. Because we did pick up that radio without a thought. We did all of Atlas's commands without reservation. Sure, there's a little bit of misdirection with the wife and kid, but it's fair to say that this puts things into a different perspective. Of course, we didn't have a choice, and that's exactly what Ryan has just finished telling us.
Hurry now! Grab Ryan's genetic key! Now would you kindly put it in that goddamn machine?
We take the card and put it into the thing.
It's time to end this little masquerade. There ain't no Atlas kid. Never was. Selling my line of work takes on a variety of aliases. The name's Frank Fonte.
We get some help from the little sisters.
Watch out, mister!
Welcome back, child. Welcome to the city where you were born. While you sleep, I undo some of Fontaine's mental conditioning. His control is no longer complete, but he can still pull some very unpleasant strings.
Yeah, he can still pull some strings, like knowing about your secret fetishes.
Would you kindly go get stepped on by a big daddy?
I think it's time we talk about each weapon you have in this game. The range I already talked about. The pistol is quite effective against normal enemies if you aim for the head, otherwise it's pretty weak, which makes sense, it's the first gun we get. Machine gun is pretty bad, it sprays all over the place, making it hard to aim with. The two different ammo types are both very useful, especially the armor piercing one. Shotgun is only really good against normal enemies, and even then only at close range. It's such a shame because it feels good to use. The grenade launcher, this is almost strictly against big daddies, as it makes no sense to use it on regular guys. The chemical launcher sounds like a fun concept. You can use it as a flame, ice, or electric weapon, and while these are indeed great, I should mention the ultimate downfall of this weapon. It's weak as shit. What you can essentially use it for is a substitute for your plasmids. That's it. The crossbow is our last weapon. It's pretty deadly, but your aiming has to be perfect, and there's a reload after every shot, so it's quite slow. There's one other big gripe I have with the game when it comes to the guns. Every time you switch ammo type, you need to reload. And the worst part about this is when you're just casually switching weapons without changing the ammo type. It's fine, but as soon as you change your ammo type, your guy starts to reload, leading to such beautiful moments that you can see on the screen. You can't forget about the strongest weapon you have, telekinesis. Anything that you lift up that is not a small object does incredible damage to the enemies. Okay, now where were we? Oh yeah, we have to do something about Fontaine's control over us. We have to get some liquids that will release us from Fontaine, which leaves us a little unstable, meaning we can only use plasmids randomly. It's a good time to test out plasmid you haven't seen before. After getting some more potions, we're free. But not really, because we still have to take care of Fontaine, but he's not far. First, he manages to run away even though I'm trying to freeze him. So to get through that door, we need to turn into a big daddy, then get a little sister to open the door for us. Yeah, you know the drill. It's time to fetch a bunch of items. We can see the place where the little sisters have been kept prisoners and probably experimented on.
Und bitte, it would mean very much to me if you will be gentle with the girls. Mein kleines Mädchen.
This is the hardest part of the game, and I can tell you I failed so many times here due to lack of ammunition, the extreme fragility of the little sisters. Oh well, it's the end game, it's supposed to be hard. And I didn't even die, it was only the little sisters. By the way, if you're wondering, no, dressing up as a Big Daddy didn't change the gameplay at all.
There. You must use the needle of the little sister to drain Fontaine of his Adam. It is the only way to defeat him.
So for the end, we do get a boss battle. Stab him with the needle, shoot down his health, stab him again, rinse and repeat. It's not bad, a little variety if nothing else. We also get some regular enemies who I never bother with. And once we've done it a couple of times, we pass out.
I had you built! I sent you topside! I called you back, showed you what you was capable of! Even that life you thought you had, that was something I dreamed up and had tattooed inside your head! Now if you don't call that family, I don't know what is! And now...
I love this ending so much. Just watch.
They offered you this city. And you refused it. And what did you do instead? What I've come to expect of you. You saved them. You gave them the one thing that was stolen from them. A chance. A chance to learn. To find love. To live. And in the end, what was your reward? You never said. But I think I know. A family.
Of course, you can get a different ending by harvesting the little sisters, but I'm not evil, at least not in video games. To sum up Bioshock 1, it's an atmospheric narrative experience. The focus was obviously in creating rapture in the characters that the player will meet. Not everybody is important, and that includes the main character. But that was intentional. They wanted to tell a story where we are a trained, obedient servant whose only purpose is to be commanded. That's why we have no choice in the matter of who we kill a lot of the times. Except when it comes to the little sisters. When it comes to gameplay, it's a little monotone. The weapons with 3 different types of ammo and the inclusion of magic does enough to make for a fun shooter, but what I think the game ultimately lacks are better shooting sections. All you ever do is run around, hide, shoot, and that's for every type of enemy. The only difference between them is their health bar. There's no problem with the amount of enemies, but there's a problem with lack of ammunition. You can't really restock from enemies, they hardly give you ammo, instead you're always forced to buy it. Which could lead to some backtracking, and since enemies respawn endlessly, you're gonna have to use some of your resources on your way there. But these issues are really just kind of nitpickings, as throughout the experience you're hardly gonna feel like anything is flat out bad about the game's design. There's too much stimuli to your senses, you're not gonna stop and think about how the shooting can be improved, you're too busy taking it all in. And because of that, I believe everybody should experience this game at least once.
I wrote a blog post a while ago about why I f***ing hate video games, because this is what it does. It appeals to like the male fantasy.
Look, Daddy, it's you. Let's go out to play, Daddy. More angels, Daddy. This way.
Get behind him! Come with us, little girl.
You want something, big guy? Bigger than hard! Harder than Get out of here, freak!
There we are. He's perfectly safe now. This is not your daughter. Do you understand? Her name is Eleanor, and she is mine. Now, kneel, please. Remove your helmet. Now, take the pistol. Place it against your head. Fire.
I think this is a really strong start. It shows an aspect of Rapture's world that we didn't see firsthand. You get the cinematic reveal, even though if you pay attention, you probably already know that you play as a Big Daddy because of the helmet POE. Still, we can definitely work with this. And while we already played as a Big Daddy in the first game, that was just cosplay. It's the real deal this time around. Now to discuss that opening. Okay, well we see the same kind of obedience that we seen in Jack, but this never comes back. Which is a weird thing that seems like they only did it so we'll have this opening. I don't want to reveal too much since this is only the beginning, but it's fair to say that control over us through wearable means never occurs ever again. Which is great because you don't want to repeat what the first game did. Rapture still looks as great as ever, maybe even more colorful. And once again we get the same plasmid as we did before, the electric bolt.
Daddy was sleeping for such a long time, and Eleanor has missed you. Find her and you'll be all better. Daddy!
As a quality of life improvement, now we can wield both a gun and a plasmid at the same time. Good decision. Our old friend Tenenbaum is here as well, here to help us. I also don't like the fact that they reveal so early that Eleanor, our little sister, or daughter if you will, is the daughter of the main antagonist, Sophia Lamb. Now, be it we didn't know that was Sophia Lamb, but since she did name Eleanor, it becomes pretty obvious. They could have saved this for a better time, you know, for the revelation to have some kind of impact. If my calculations are correct, we're 8 years after the first game, so this is a definite sequel. So true to being a sequel, it needs to introduce some new stuff, so here's the first big thing. The Big Sisters.
Big sister doesn't want you playing with me.
They're like Big Daddies, tough, but with the added twist that they're also agile. They do make for a decent challenge, and personally I do like their design. A wood smash. But we don't get to fight one just yet, at least not all the way. We have these parts where we have to traverse underwater. They do look nice enough, but let's call them for what they are, walking sections. Anyway, Tenenbaum told us that we have to meet her so she can tell all that she knows about us. But Lamp interjects. This feels familiar.
I know you. That symbol on your hand marks you a dead man. 10 years, Subject Delta, since I watched you put a gun to your head and pull the trigger.
It's more of a cinematic, so I can appreciate it for that. Devices can now be hacked from a distance, another quality of life improvement from Bioshock 1. Just like before, we're gonna talk about the guns after we get all of them. We get these plasmids that Eleanor left behind for us.
Father, it's me, Eleanor. I know you're awake in there. I can feel it. Mother won't be able to toy with you like that ever again.
I like the philosophical aspect of the first game, and given that our main antagonist is an expert in the field, you would expect similarly interesting ideologies. Instead, here we have stuff like,
I know the surface, Eleanor. I spent half a lifetime there, in service of the common good. But then, I heard my own words twisted by fat old men squatting over the embers of Hiroshima. Were the modern world a patient in my care, I would diagnose it suicidal. On perhaps that point alone, Andrew Ryan is correct. Rapture is deliverance. In ethical psychiatry, we must account for the role of evolution. Depression, fits of panic, sexual pathos, all responses to ancient selection pressure. The irony is that this theory is why Ryan's people invited me here. They mistake my study of natural law for the worship of competition. Remember, Eleanor, one must know the beast before it can be slain. Awareness of self is no miracle, Eleanor. It is a trick of the gene, an endless inner refrain asking, what's in it for me? To serve the world, we must grow deaf to the self. Are you ready? Now, stop listening to my voice. Stop listening. Stop. Difficult, isn't it? Human verbal cues are defensive coloration, camouflage. Play this recording until you no longer hear the words. Then you may observe the people for who they are.
it's not bad per se, but I pretty much collected the best ones, and it's only Sophia that delivers any kind of interesting food for thought, but you'll see. Anyway, we were in the middle of running to an elevator. Then Tenenbaum reveals the most generic information about us.
You are a very old Big Daddy.
Thank you.
Bonded for life to a single little one. When you are apart for too long, your body begins to shut down like a coma. As long as the girl is in the rapture, you are trapped here as well. The name of your little one is Eleanor Lamb, daughter of Sophia. She is kept at Fontaine Futuristics on the other side of the city.
It's disappointing, but it might just be for me. It's almost like they wanted to do something with having their last name be Lamb, which is even suggested by the graffiti that you can see in the game, but it doesn't work. The lamb is usually a symbol of innocence, which could work for Elena, but not for her mother Sophia. Not to mention, if you do the evil playthrough, it doesn't even work for Elena, so it's confusing. Maybe it's supposed to be taken as a lamb can be easily influenced. I don't know. Another thing that I found odd was how the shops don't have sound effects anymore. It feels so empty without the
"Come back when you get some money, buddy!"
Meet the lady from the first game who pretty much tells us to go away, defend them, and then refers us to another guy who immediately gets into our DMs as soon as we leave our conversation with her.
Thank you. Now I must leave you, and I am sorry for this. But there are others I must help before the city drowns. This man Sinclair, he is an ally, and will guide you to Eleanor.
Well, look at you. A bona fide knight in armor, complete with iron horse. The name's Augustus Sinclair, sport.
I think it's a good time to bring up the fact that most of this game's story is just distractions till we get to the end goal. And there's nothing wrong with that. Many games make us do a bunch of random tasks that have nothing to do with the main story, like God of War 2016, Witcher 3, but the difference is, they make the in-between stuff interesting as well. But Bioshock 2 has very little to offer in that regard, so here's our first detour. The next station is frozen over. Let's get the incinerate plasmid. We're at Ryan's amusement, so we gotta get a ticket first, which, to be honest, does lead to some nice background information we can learn about its history.
Andrew Ryan wakes one night while cruising the Atlantic in his steamliner, the Olympian. His sleep interrupted with a singular purpose. Here, he shouts to his crewmen as he wipes sleep from his eyes. Full stop. We begin building here.
Also like how we can find Eleanor audio logs, which can be all the way from her childhood.
In ethical psychiatry, we must account for...
Eleanor Lamb speaking. Mum says I'm not to play with the other children because they're being raised on a diet of dog eat dog. I wanted to see these dog eaters, so I waited until Mum was gone and went out to find one. And guess what? The dog eaters wear human skins. It makes them look just like us. I got in a fight with a dog eater today. His name is Amir, and he was picking on a smaller boy. We called a truce when his nose went red, but Mum says I'm becoming a barbarian. So I said, Eleanor, eat dog now too. Barbarian. Happy. And Mom said, they only think they're happy because they're selfish and ignorant. Eleanor, think ignorant sound like fun.
That's another thing that Bioshock 2 does a poor job at, building up characters through audio logs. There's a few exceptions, but they should have utilized it better. Of course, we gotta fight other big daddies like we did before, but the difference is that this time we can adopt or harvest their little sisters. Once again, I'm strictly adopting them. But we can also let them gather Adam for us from select enemies. These are mostly inconveniently placed, just out in the open so that enemies can come from 80 different directions. Yet it's doable because little sisters are tougher than they were in the first game. Now that we have enough Adam, we can purchase the Incinerate Plasmid. We have a funny tutorial to try it out on.
Say, Tom here is having a romantic evening with a gal. What would impress her more than lighting the fireplace with a snap of your fingers?
While heading back, we get our first chance to fight against the big sister.
Holy Moses, son. Not even a big sister can keep you down.
Melt the ice, see Sinclair's goofy run. I'm not gonna count this as an ambush as there's only 2 enemies, not to mention we can just leave. We don't get far though as our way gets blocked. Gotta get the override key from this woman called Grace.
I remember you, monster. You stole Eleanor from me. Twisted that baby girl into a thing so sick it can't even die.
We weren't the one who turned Elena into a little sister, so this is just flat out a false accusation. I do like how she calls us
Daddy.
We run around the place, get a code, get some Adam. Here's a nice way to deal with the enemies. Place down traps and just let them take care of themselves. Oh yeah, we don't have to remember codes anymore, check it from the menu, we just get it right on the screen. We have this other new enemy, this big guy. Honestly, there's nothing unique about them. Like they can throw rocks at you and whatnot, but that's it. After a long trip, we finally make it to Grace.
We both died tonight, monster. Dr. Lamb trusted me to care for her child. And I tried. But baby Eleanor disappeared. And then one day, I see her walking with you, looking wrong. And when I tried to hold her, you knocked me down. Broke my jaw.
So we have a choice here, kill Grace or not. We really don't have any reason to get rid of her, so might as well leave her. I do like that we have a choice besides the one we make with the little sisters.
You had me under a gun, yet you just walk away? No monster alive turns the other cheek. No monster does that. A thinking man does that.
We're almost there and...
Hear me, O ye who would murder the Lamb of God. Ye shall never reach her God.
Another diversion. I think this area is my least favorite. Some kind of hotel with a bunch of same looking rooms. Running around only to get this one guy who has a code we need. At least it's not a key this time? Well, we haven't had a proper ambush in a while, so I think we can talk about the weapons now. The drill is great. We can bash with it, drill enemies, we even have this charge attack. You do need fuel to do anything besides just hitting with it. The rivet gun, I would say this is your main weapon as you will use it most of the time. It does great damage from beginning to end, plus the explosive ammo type is extremely effective against the bigger enemies. Hacking tool, besides hacking you have these mini turrets that you can put down with it, which are pretty good if you can find a good place for them. The rest of the guns are pretty much the same, with the spear gun being just what the crossbow was in the first game. Getting past the door, we have to deal with Father Wales. He's a really bland character.
It wears a hide of iron, and its hands are shows us that we are not alone. It would seize the child from us, and with her, paradise itself.
We believe in the daughter of the Lamb, hallowed Savior and anointed vessel, whose blood with our blood, sin with our sin.
Unlike Bioshock 1, a lot of these side characters have nothing to offer in the sequel. They don't seem to have a life outside of having some kind of connection to either us or the Lamb family. We do get this nice getting away while the place is getting flooded part. Looks great.
Look, Delta. It is the world for which you strive. You, alone among the dead.
Dionysus Park was owned by Sophia Lamb, Chief. Sort of a private retreat for her social experiments.
Our next stop is this park. We get a call from this guy called Stanley.
Well, hello, boys. The name's Stan Poole, Rapture Tribune. The little sisters are already starting to nose around, looking for Adam, and I can't have that. See, with Adam involved, every stiff's got a story, and Lamb knows how to read it. If that stuff makes it back to her, I'm an obituary.
As we take care of the little sisters, we get memories narrated by Eleanor.
Father, this Adam you found contains memories from all the bodies here. Normally, only a little sister can see them, but I can show you what Stanley's trying to hide.
Another one. And it is revealed that Stanley was the one that took Eleanor away.
That's me there. I confronted Stanley, said I'd tell Mother what he had done. He panicked, took me away and sold me to an orphanage. I tried to fight back. I remember biting his hand, but... Father, he's the reason I was turned into a little sister.
We also get to learn our human name from Stan.
So his people locked you up, erased your damn name. Goodbye, Johnny Topside. Hello, Subject Delta.
Johnny Topside. Are you serious? Sounds like a Jackass character.
And another one.
More bad stuff that Stanley did, only so that we have a reason to kill him. I appreciate the effort.
He is responsible for what you have become. The security booth is open now. You may have your revenge.
No, thank you. He's not worth my time.
Now, Eleanor's in a deep, dark place beneath Fontaine headquarters, and to keep you alive, we need to sneak in and find her.
This is one of my favorite sections in the game, mostly because it contains one of the more interesting characters.
October 9th, 1967. Hello. My name is Gilbert Alexander, and by the time you hear this, I will be clinically insane.
We can see some foreshadowing about this place. Gil is the only one that has his own little story within this game. We get yet another new enemy, ourselves. More accurately, the same model as we are. Again, there's nothing really special about these guys. It feels just like fighting a big daddy. Here's a little thing that I liked. You have to play the audio log for the door to open.
Please speak password to enter. Access granted. Welcome, Gil Alexander.
It doesn't work out that well on the second door, though.
Please speak password to enter.
Life's a pain, weatherman says heavy rain.
Right, time to clean the toilets. We have to destroy these signal relays. At one point, we take to the stage. You know what that means? Of course, another ambush. Making through the door, we get a new mission.
I must assume by now that you're willing to help end my life.
Entering the research place, we learn more about what happened to Gil.
We needed someone to be host to all that Adam, Rapture's finest minds. A willing subject, that is to say, myself.
Right, so we have to collect these plants to lure him out, and this is where we can talk about a big issue that the game has. And it's a technical one. The game kept crashing over and over again. No error message or anything, just straight up closing itself in this area. Looking up, many other people had the same exact issue in this place. It's probably because we're playing on newer hardware, as I don't really recall having these kind of problems back in the day. Still, it's important to know that this might happen to you too if you plan on playing this game. The only thing that worked is lowering the graphics to medium, so do excuse the quality for the small portion of the video. So we get both plants and lure him out, which I don't really understand. He's in the tank, so why do we have to lure him out? We don't make him come out and fight us, which I thought is where this is going. I feel it's kind of a wasted opportunity. They could have had a boss fight here. Anyway, we just take his gene sample. Don't ask me why. Well, apparently it's the key to Sophia's hideout for whatever reason.
The sample disposal button on the panel in front of you will administer a massive jolt of electricity to the tank. More than enough to kill me.
Persephone, we're finally here. Find Eleanor, son, and fast. Her mama's got all Rapture dying to keep you two apart.
There's no enemies in this area.
That's her, son, Eleanor Lamb.
But we do get attacked as soon as we find Eleanor. By two big sisters, no less.
Look at her, Delta. 10 years, and still she dreams of you.
50 seconds remaining.
Do you know why Eleanor brought you here? She wanted a father. So she found a way to restore you in body and mind. And she has been watching you ever since, exalting your every act as gospel. The girl lying on that bed is no longer my child, nor my life's work. She is a monster, shaped by you alone. Just as she has always wanted.
20 seconds remaining.
But there is one detail of your mutual bond she failed to account for. Your body was designed to lapse into a coma when her heart ceases to beat. Eleanor, forgive me.
Of course, we're not dead, but we're getting there. Just like in the first game, one of the little sisters help us, but this time we take control of them. We get our brightness set higher, indicating that we're seeing an illusion. We can use the vents, which are quite poorly made. We just get a cut to black and we appear on the other side of a wall. Okay. Besides just walking, we can take some Adam, but I don't think there's much use for it at this point. Our main mission is to gather Big Sister equipment for Eleanor. We bring it to her and now our choices take hold.
Now, I will do the same for all the others, starting with this one.
How we treated people is how Eleanor is gonna treat them. We are the father figure after all. She saves us, but we have to go out quickly as we are indeed dying.
We have to get you out of Rapture, Father.
We can summon Eleanor to fight by our side for a limited time. She is very useful. Our plan is to escape with Sinclair's submarine. This is the end game, which means the place is full of enemies. Don't even take your finger off the fire button. So Sinclair gets mind controlled. I mean, he was our guide throughout the game, but Other than to tell us where to go, he didn't do much. It would have been a nice thing if he actually saved our lives by, I don't know, starting the train as we were running away from enemies or something. You know, build him up as a legitimate partner instead of just yapping, but oh well. We do get more information about him, but I don't think this does anything for anybody.
I did rent you out to those plasma trials up at Fontaine. And now I'm paying for it.
You have to get a code, of course, before we can proceed. After that little detour, we can put him out of his misery. He's just like a regular Alpha Series Big Daddy. Nothing special about the fight gameplay-wise either. Before we leave, we better save the little sisters as well. Take care of some of the enemies who are all attacking from this balcony. Why only from here? Whatever. Once the coast is clear, call Elena. We do this one more time and now the enemies are floating. The game, just like this place, is falling apart. One more for the road. While Elena is draining the water, we have to hold off the bad guys. At some point we have to rush upstairs to destroy these tubes, which causes the place to flood. Now we have to make our way to the docking tunnel. Just like with the big confrontation with Sophia, this all feels a little underwhelming. I don't think Elena is built up enough as a character for us to really care about her, besides the fact that we don't want Sophia to do experiments on her. Saving the little sisters is also just something on a bucket list, as we already did that in the first game. Much good that did, apparently.
And then, Father, the rapture dream was over. You taught me that evil is just a word. Under the skin, it's simple pain. For you, mercy was victory. You sacrificed, you endured, and when given the chance, you forgave. Always. Mother believed this world was irredeemable, but she was wrong, Father. We are Utopia, you and I, and in forgiving, we left the door open for her. The rapture dream is over, but in waking, I am reborn. This world is not ready for me, yet here I am. It would be so easy to misjudge them. You are my conscience, Father, and I need you to guide me. You will always be with me now, Father. Your memories, your drives. And when I need you, you'll be there on my shoulder, whispering. If Utopia is not a place, but a people, then we must choose carefully, for the world is about to change. And in our story, Rapture was just the beginning.
Bioshock 2 is not a bad game. It does improve its gameplay from the first game, even if slightly. Rapture is still as captivating as ever, but its residents feel all too samey. Everybody's still out of their mind, just wandering around looking for Adam, and somebody's making more little sisters. Nothing's changed. It does attempt to tell a more emotional story, but fails to create a connection between the player and Elena, something that a few years later Last of Us 1 would do to a phenomenal success. It makes you wonder, that game's success could have easily been Bioshock 2's. But I digress. Coming back to the scores, what's the conclusion? I don't think these are correct. In many ways, Bioshock 2 contains a lot of what makes the first game great, but it's missing the most vital part, that extra spark that elevates it from mediocrity. Not only did Bioshock 1 use its first-person narrative excellently, it also created a coherent world with interesting characters. There's nothing wrong with telling a more humble story, one without twists and turns, but you still need to execute it well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and while you're here, why not watch some other long-form video about games? You know you want to.